Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Liz and today is going to be my experience in a group home. Now, this is going to be a rough one, but let's just get right into it. So just a little bit of backstory. Now I'll probably make other videos going more into depth, but this is just one particular experience. For context, I'm just going to go over all the ages of my siblings. Most of us are a year apart, so I have a lot of siblings, so just bear with me. So at the time, my dad had custody of my me and my two siblings. I did have two other siblings, but they were already in the system at that time. Therefore, the state had custody of my other siblings. At the time, now I'm just going to go in order from ages. So my youngest brother, I believe, was 7 years old. I was 12. My other brother was 13. My other brother was 14. My other sister was 15. And my other sister, my half-sister, was 16, but she was already in Florida. I do have two other siblings on my dad's side, but obviously they're with their mother. I don't remember their ages. I'm trying not to include their names, so I'm trying to just go by their ages. So my youngest brother, me, and my brother that was 13. So we were all in custody of my dad at that time. So at the time, my dad had temporary custody of us for other reasons that I'm not going to get into for this video. But my dad had to work. Obviously, he was supporting two families. So my mom was watching us when she really wasn't supposed to, because she's supposed to be watching us with, obviously, the supervision of our father at that time. And our social worker did a surprise visit, because they do that sometimes. They just pop up. And my mom forgot, and she answered the door. Obviously, my social worker at the time saw her with the kids, no papi, so we got all taken away, the three of us. When we did get taken away, my full oldest two siblings were in the room were in the house, but they were not. They were technically the custody of the state or had signed themselves out, so therefore they didn't get taken away. But me and my other two siblings, younger siblings, we were in custody of our father. My mom was there watching us without my father, so that's why we got taken away. At that point in time, I have visited my oldest full sibling while she was in a group home, and it was just sad. Honestly, it was really sad. She seemed like she was doing okay. I believe she was 13 or 14 years old at the time. Sorry, my cats. So at the time, I had visited my sister when she was in a group home. Now all the girls were in like sweatpants and sweatshirts with like open-toed sandals, and I feel like those were the clothes that were given to you, and that's about it. It was a facility where it was a bunch of girls. I believe they were all sharing rooms or what have you, but she seemed like she was like doing okay. But again, I was like 12, 11 years old, so I didn't even know what was going on really. I just knew we went to go visit our sister, and I just knew she was just happy to see us. So that, as far as my experience goes as to group homes. But again, I didn't really have a fully understanding. Now fast forward to when I was 19 years old, I was kicked out of a foster home that I was with for like 8 years, and the foster parent didn't even tell me directly. They kind of like left it up to my sibling to tell me, my brother that was living with us. And I was at school at the time, and there was a lot of things going on. There's a lot of details I'm leaving out just for the sake of the video, because that's not the purpose and that's not the point, but I'm just giving you the details as far as to what led me to there. So I'll maybe or maybe not make a later video about it, but just so you know, it was a lot of strenuous circumstances leading to that event. So just for the sake of the video, I'm not going into it right now. Anyways, so I was 19 years old. I had left my foster home to go back to school, and it was a lot going on. But I went back to school, and like the next day they're like, yeah, you're on vacation for a couple days, evacuate the premises. And I was like, whoa, like what's going on? So I called my brother, I'm like, yeah, I have to come back. And he's like, yeah, no, you don't have a home here anymore, like she kicked you out. And I'm like, okay, like what do I do now? Technically The foster parent was supposed to give the social worker and me personally a 2 weeks notice if they decided to no longer want to house a foster child, but like, we're not getting into it. But anyways, so I found out when I don't know what time it was, honestly. There was a lot going on with me at that point in time. I was going through, like, in the middle of like a psychotic episode, so it was a lot going on. And I called my brother. He's like, yeah, no, you don't have a home here anymore. She kicked you out. I'm like, okay, so what do I do? Like, at this point, this is like after hours. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I try to call my therapist, try to call my social worker, all that or whatever, because she didn't even call my social worker to let them know that she kicked me out. So I was just literally on the 3-hour bus ride back from my school. So I was just like crying on the bus the whole freaking time, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do an emergency placement. I was speaking to my social worker, and they found me like an emergency placement. Now again, this break was only for a few days, and I had to go back to school in the middle of all that. So when I got there, I was like, I was really shy growing up, honestly. I was really timid and quiet, and like really just was relatively a good kid. Like, I might have had my little attitude, but I wasn't really like a problematic child. So like when I got there, I was just like shy and just like, okay, what do I do now? And when I got there, they took away my laptop, they took away my phone, they locked me in a bedroom at night. It was a lot. The other girls were just like, clearly had like severe behavioral issues. Not that I didn't have an issue, but it wasn't like to that extent. I was going through a bit of a psychosis at that same time, but I was still like, I wasn't like off the walls relatively in comparison to the other children. Now, I will say this, the foster care system does not provide any type of relief for the child. You're lucky if you get a good placement, especially as a girl and especially as a teenager. You're either bouncing from home to home, or you're like in a group home with a bunch of other kids that have issues, and it's just a mess. Now, I'm 19 years old. Like, you're gonna sit here and tell me you're gonna take my phone and laptop. Mind you, I'm going to college. Like, I need to do homework, and I'm like, well, I do need to do homework. Like, there was no access to the internet, but like I still need to do my assignments, like my papers or whatever. And they're like, well, we can give it to you for like an hour or 2 at a time, and then you can do your homework there. Like, it was honestly like a complete and total shock. Obviously, I've never been like physically in a group home myself prior to this, so it was just like, what? It was just a shock. Like, and I never, like, I just kept to myself. Like, low-key, I didn't want to be associated with these kids. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, they had an outing where it's like anytime you leave the little group home, you have to go in groups with, and they call them like monitors or something, like, and they're like, oh, let's go to the mall. I'm like, no, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'll stay here. I do want to say this. A lot of these kids, I don't know where they're coming from, their backgrounds, none of the things they've been through to get to the point where they're like in a group home with other kids. Obviously, I had a very different experience compared to other foster kids my age. I was in foster care from 12 to 21 until I aged out. The foster care agency was paying a portion of my room and board for college, so that's why I stayed in college. So I stayed in the system until I was 21 because they were paying a portion of my schooling. One of the girls was just talking about all the illegal activities she was involved in, all the fights and all that stuff, and I'm just like, I tried to let her know, like, you know, that's all kept on your file. Like, that's all kept onto your file and then could be used against you, like, as to reasons why they can't find a placement for you. And I'm like, you know, that's not really a good thing. It's just like, it's not going to do you any favors. So, I mean, obviously, do I think I single-handedly changed the trajectory of her life? Absolutely not. But I tried to just give that little nugget of information just to, like, you know, this is not really the path you kind of want to be on. But half the time, like, you could still be a good kid and people just don't even want to deal with you just because, one, either you're a girl, or two, you're a teenager. and that's just the fact. And it's like, if you become a foster parent, like you can be very selective as to who you want in your home, which is fair. However, it's not fair to just prejudge children just based off their age and gender. Like, you can be specific as to like, oh, I only want to deal with infants from this age to this age, or oh, I only want this kind of ethnicity of children, or this kind of age range, or this kind of gender. Like, you can be that specific. You can deny any and every children that might come to your house. I definitely want to continue this conversation down in the comments, or if you want to message me privately. I have an Instagram, I have a TikTok, I have a Facebook page. They're all in my, at the end of this video, or in my little description bar, and my little information about me on my YouTube channel. So if you do want to have a conversation with me privately, you can. If you want to post directly under this video, please, I do encourage you, because I've had a very limited experience. Honestly, I was, throughout the course of 10 years, I guess, being in foster care, I was only placed in 2 homes and 1 group home. So I have a very limited experience as far as the system itself, but what I have seen is just some aspects are very atrocious. I'll just say that. So that was my personal experience in a group home. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, because YouTube makes me say this. And yeah, bye.